Mouthguard DNA Harvest. What if the most unassuming piece of your athletic gear, the one thing designed purely for your protection, was hiding a secret? Not a design flaw, not a manufacturing defect, but a clandestine purpose. We're talking about your mouthguard. That simple piece of polymer you bite down on for protection could be the key to a conspiracy so vast, so technologically advanced, it sounds like it was ripped from the pages of a science fiction novel. But as we all know, yesterday's science fiction is often tomorrow's reality. This is the story of the Hydra Protocol, a chilling theory that suggests your mouthguard isn't just protecting your teeth. It's actively, silently, and systematically harvesting your DNA. Forget about data breaches on your phone or computer. This is the ultimate biological invasion, and the point of entry is your own mouth. The foundational premise of the Hydra Protocol is as simple as it is terrifying. Every time an athlete uses a mouthguard, they are leaving behind a treasure trove of genetic material. Think about it. Your mouth is a rich biological environment. Saliva, teeming with DNA from your epithelial cells, is constantly coating the device. Microscopic fragments of skin tissue from your gums and the inside of your cheeks are scraped off and embedded into the material. In high-contact sports, there might even be minuscule traces of blood. From a geneticist's perspective, a used mouthguard isn't a piece of plastic, it's a pristine sample collection kit. The Hydra Protocol theory argues that this isn't an accidental byproduct. It's the entire point. But how could this even be possible? How could a simple-looking mouthguard perform a function worthy of a high-tech genetics lab? The answer, according to proponents of the theory, lies in technology that is both invisible and already within our grasp. We're not talking about bulky wires or noticeable chips. We're talking about the realm of microtechnology and nanotechnology. The theory posits that these mouthguards are embedded with advanced microsensors and a system that could be described as a lab on a chip. This isn't a fantasy. Lab-on-a-chip technology is real. It involves shrinking down complex laboratory processes onto a microchip mere millimeters in size. Imagine this. Integrated within the polymer of the mouthguard are microscopic channels, completely invisible to the naked eye. As saliva flows over the surface, these microfluidic channels passively guide a small sample inward. Once inside this hidden system, the sample could be mixed with preloaded reagents designed to break open the cells, a process called lysis, to release the DNA. From there, specialized molecules, almost like microscopic magnets for genetic material, could capture the DNA strands, isolating them from the rest of the cellular debris. The entire process would be silent, passive, and require no external action from the athlete. They would simply be wearing their gear as intended. The custom-molded mouthguards, often provided by teams or made by specialists, would be the perfect Trojan horse. That perfect, comfortable fit wouldn't just be for protection. It would be to ensure maximum surface contact for optimal sample collection. The very phrase, advanced impact-absorbing polymer, could be a cover for a material with a far more sophisticated hidden function. Of course, a device like this needs power, and it needs a way to transmit its precious cargo of data. The power requirements would be minuscule, easily met by a variety of theoretical methods. Kinetic energy harvesting, for example, could draw power from the simple clenching of the jaw. Thermoelectric generators could convert the athlete's own body heat into a steady trickle of electricity. Or, most simply, a tiny paper-thin battery could provide more than enough power for months or even years of passive collection. As for data transmission, there are multiple covert options. It wouldn't need a constant Wi-Fi connection. Instead, it could use low-energy Bluetooth to offload the data to a nearby receiver. Or, even more insidiously, imagine if the Mouthguards protective case doubled as a data hub. When the athlete drops the mouthguard into its case to be cleaned or stored, a near-field communication or RFID chip could activate, transferring the collected genetic data in seconds. The athlete would think their case is just a plastic box, when in reality, it's the final link in the data harvesting chain, uploading its findings to a central server. This might sound outlandish, but let's ground it in reality for a moment. We already have smart pills that can be swallowed to monitor our insides and transmit data. We have wearable sensors that can analyze our sweat in real time. The miniaturization of complex technology is not a future concept. It's the defining characteristic of our current technological era. The Hydra Protocol merely suggests that this existing trend has been weaponized and turned inward, focused on the one thing that makes us unique, our genetic code. It's gaining traction in certain tech and sports circles because the individual components of the theory are not just plausible. They are, in some form, already here. The genius of the conspiracy isn't in inventing unimpossible technology, but in combining existing cutting-edge science in a way that is utterly terrifying and almost completely undetectable. The question is no longer, could we do this? The real question the Hydra Protocol forces us to ask is someone already doing it? Before we dive into the horrifying why, we must first accept the deeply unsettling how. The stage is set for the greatest heist in human history, not of gold or jewels, but of the very blueprint of life itself. AI athlete creation. So, let's take a leap of faith. Let's assume for a moment that the Hydra Protocol is real. That microscopic, undetectable harvesters are silently at work inside the mouths of athletes around the globe, from high school football fields to Olympic stadiums. This leads us to the next and far more terrifying question: why? Who would go to such lengths to build this clandestine genetic library, and for what purpose? The answer proposed by the Hydra Protocol theory is where this conspiracy graduates from a privacy nightmare to a potential bio-dystopian future. The collected DNA isn't just being stored. It's being fed into an advanced artificial intelligence. The ultimate goal: to analyze, deconstruct, and ultimately reverse engineer human athletic potential with the sole purpose of designing the perfect, genetically engineered athlete. This isn't about simple data collection. It's about creating an unprecedented genetic database. Imagine an AI with access to the DNA of thousands, perhaps millions, of the world's most physically gifted individuals. It would have the genetic blueprints of the fastest sprinters, the strongest weightlifters, the most enduring marathon runners, and the most agile gymnasts. This AI wouldn't just be looking at a single gene in isolation. It would be using the power of machine learning and big data to perform cross-correlation on a scale we can barely comprehend. It would be building a comprehensive database to find the hidden patterns, the subtle combinations of genes that separate the good from the great and the great from the legendary. What would this AI be looking for exactly? It would be hunting for the golden markers of athletic perfection. It would identify the specific alleles of the ACTN3 gene, the so-called sprint gene, that result in the most explosive fast-twitch muscle fibers. It would analyze variations in genes like PPAR delta, which regulates how our bodies burn fat for energy, to find the perfect combination for limitless endurance. But it would go so much deeper. It would find the genetic markers for superior oxygen uptake, for rapid lactate clearance to prevent muscle fatigue, and for collagen synthesis that creates ligaments and tendons resistant to injury. The AI could even identify the genetic keys to enhance neurological function, the genes responsible for lightning-fast reaction times, for superior spatial awareness, for the ability to remain calm and strategic under immense physical and psychological pressure. It would be a digital prospector sifting through the river of human biology to find every last fleck of genetic gold. Once the analysis is complete, the AI's directive would shift from cataloging to creation. It wouldn't just know what makes a great athlete, it would synthesize this knowledge into a perfect, idealized blueprint. It would create a theoretical genome, a greatest hits album of human genetics, combining the explosive power of a sprinter, the endurance of a marathoner, the resilience of a fighter, and the precision of a surgeon into a single biological code. Before any physical creation, the AI could run millions of digital simulations. It could grow virtual athletes in a digital environment, testing how these new gene combinations would perform, refining the blueprint over and over until it was flawless. This is where we enter the most disturbing phase of the Hydra Protocol, the creation of these super athletes. How could this AI blueprint be brought to life? The most direct and controversial method would be through advanced gene editing technologies like CRISPR-Cas9. In a clandestine lab, human embryos could be edited to match the AI's perfect genetic template, creating designer babies built from the ground up for physical dominance. This is the stuff of dystopian nightmares, a world where athletes are no longer born or made, but manufactured. But there are other, slightly less overt possibilities. The AI's blueprint could be used as the ultimate scouting tool. Instead of scouts watching kids play, a global program could perform mass genetic screening on children, using the AI's model to identify those with the highest innate potential. These children could then be funneled into elite specialized training programs from an incredibly young age, their entire lives mapped out for them based on a genetic score. It's a form of biological determinism that would crush the very idea of the underdog story. The ethical implications are staggering. What happens to the concept of fair play in a world where some competitors are literally designed for victory? The line between human achievement and technological manipulation would be erased forever. It would create a new form of genetic aristocracy, a two-tiered system of the naturals and the AI-designed enhanced. The very spirit of sport, the celebration of human will, dedication, and overcoming limitations would be rendered meaningless. And at the heart of it all is the profound violation of privacy. Every athlete who unknowingly contributed their DNA to this project would have their most personal, intimate biological information stolen and used to create their own replacement, a new generation that would make their own hard-won achievements obsolete. So the next time you see an athlete pop in their mouthguard, the Hydra Protocol asks you to consider a chilling possibility. Is that piece of plastic just protecting their teeth, or is it a silent participant in a grand, terrifying experiment to render them, and the very nature of human competition as we know it, a thing of the past? Is it protecting a champion, or is it building their replacement?